And we're live. Hello, everybody. And we do not own the rights to this music. Let me say that. Welcome, everybody, to the Entrepreneur Show with our special guest, best-selling author, Toccara Nicole.
Hey, what's going on?
We're going to get started here. Let me find the broadcast and say hello when y'all come in so we can greet you properly here in the broadcast. Let me look. Toccara, did you find it?
I don't see us yet.
Okay.
I'm refreshing now.
Let's see. Let me go to another page. I usually can find it faster on my other page. Hey, everybody. Oh, I see it. There we go. I'm going to share it to.
Got it.
Say hello, everybody, when y'all come in. Share to a group. Okay, did you find it, Toccara?
I did.
All right. Y'all, welcome to the Entrepreneur Show. Let me cut the music off. All right. We definitely don't want to get flagged.
Right?
Facebook. Welcome. How come I can't see the comments? Y'all say something to us. I see there's some people on watching. Let me make sure that our broadcast is coming through live on Facebook. Okay, there it is. All right, we're looking good. Welcome, everybody. My name is Martine Corte, and I will be your host tonight on the Entrepreneur Show. We are back at the top of the year. This is our first broadcast for 2023.
Hey.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Welcome. I am an entrepreneur, excuse me. I am also a best-selling author. My book is Journey to Greatness. Oh, we got a comment here already. Thank y'all. It is Sir Alan Black. He says, good evening. Looking forward to hearing from two bosses.
Oh,
thank you. And he's also a best-selling author. Okay. The boss.
Yes.
Congratulations, Sir Alan. All right. I am also the owner of Advanced Tax Solutions, my tax firm, owner of Accurate Screening, my drug testing center. We got someone over here, Alondra Hall.
Hey!
She says, hey, Toccara. Well, welcome, Miss Hall. How you doing? And we've got Yvette Turner Jennings. She says, hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
She's a major boss out here.
Hey.
Welcome. I also co-own S&M African Boutique along with my husband and some other things that we do. I work with small business owners, entrepreneurs, artists, authors, network marketers, and nonprofit leaders to help them reach their potential clientele with assistance of live streaming. What we're doing right here, right now, that's the method to help us get to the bag and help them get to the bag. So everybody know that follows me tough. Y'all know that that's the strategy that I use. And I love interviewing. So this is my show, the Entrepreneur Show. I also have another show on Tuesdays called Tax Talk Tuesday that runs through the tax season, and we're upon another great tax season. So you'll see more broadcasts from me from that brand. But tonight it's all about the entrepreneur. It's all about the boss, okay? And we got a boss that's just doing all kind of things, And I'm gonna let her share with you everything that she does. Let me just give y'all a quick background about her. She is just a tremendous, wonderful friend that I've met. I don't know, maybe a year ago, I think, something like that. And I just love her spirit and her vibe. And I've been following her, and I found out what all she does. And I'm sure I haven't uncovered everything, but maybe it'll come out tonight in this interview.
Yes, maybe.
So we do have our guest, special guest, the identity architect, Toccara Nicole. She is a 12-time author, along with being a 2-time Amazon best-selling author, affectionately known as the identity architect. I love that, by the
Thank
way.
you.
She works with Christian women entrepreneurs to live, unlock, and rediscover themselves in order to build books, businesses, and brands. I love that. Everybody should have a statement when you come on. You should have something to kind of put everything that you do in a nutshell, let people know what it is that you do.
Yes.
She is passionate to help her clients discover what's in their vaults to unlock their personal and marketplace identity by using her powerful insight, discernment, and sensitivity. So everybody, let's give a round of applause for the identity architect, Toccara Nicole.
What's up, everybody? Yes. Listen, Martine loves interviewing. I do too. I love being interviewed. We all have a story. We all have a journey. And a lot of times we see somebody and we don't know everything that they've gone through. And I've learned to be such an open book when it comes to my life and my story, especially as a publisher. I mean, helping other people write their stories, it's such an honor. So I am so happy to be here tonight.
I'm so glad that you're here. And we have a lot of things in common.
We do.
And so she's my sister, y'all.
Yes, we sisters. Yes.
When you find somebody where you can connect with and vibe with on a spiritual level and on a business level, that is your sister boss.
I like that, sister boss. Okay.
We have another comment. Everyone come on and say hello.
Oh, hey, Sonia.
She says, Sonia Zachary Bell.
She's all the way from the ATL, baby.
She says, hi, Queen, from the ATL. And y'all, I might have to wear these little things to read these comments. We at that point. That's
all right. That's all right.
We're still young, but we get to a point where we need some assistance.
Okay. Oh, we sure do.
All right. So, Toccara Nicole, please, you have the floor. Let people know just a little bit of background about who you are, where you started from, what was your life like as a child, and just kind of bring us up to date. And I may interject in somewhere in there and for you to elaborate and all that kind of stuff, because this interview is twofold. Everybody, just so y'all know, we have our guests introduce themselves and they kind of let us know about their business, and then part two is they kind of share their journey as an entrepreneur, because a lot of people think it's glitz and glamour because you see all this stuff on Instagram and Facebook and all this, but for real, behind the scenes is very, very different. It looks very, very different, and sometimes we struggle. Everybody struggles as an entrepreneur. You can't say that you never struggled if you've been a real boss.
Come on, all of that.
That part.
Exactly.
So go ahead, take away, Miss Identity Architect.
Sure. So I'm originally from the Chicagoland area. I am my mother's Chi-town in the house. I am my mother's only child, but I'm the fourth out of 22. And I think that's where my story and journey really starts. So growing up in the home with my grandparents and my mom, I learned a lot. And I have old school wisdom because I was in the house with my grandparents. So one of the things that I learned at an early age was how to read. I started reading at the age of 3. I started reading the Chicago Tribune, not just the comics section, at the age of 6. And I started writing at the age of 7. And one of the things that I remember very clearly, my mom got me this diary one year for Christmas, and it had a lock on it. And, back then we thought that the key to the lock, actually locked, but that wasn't the case. It was just really cute. And the times that I would be sent on punishment, my mom would send me to my room and I would write. And at that time, I would write short stories, didn't know what I was writing. It was just brain dumping, didn't know what I was doing, just creatively writing. And so I remember that as I'm working with my clients, that we all have a story and a journey. We all started somewhere, right? And so fast forward, back in 2014, I started my authorship journey, and it was quite an experience. I really thought that the book was a flop because of the way that it was done, but God strategically told me, he's like, I am reactivating the power of writing again in your adult age. And I'm like, wow, because even in as a teen and in college, my English teachers and professors were like, wow, you're just so gifted to write. It was never a problem. Like, I was the one, had a 10-page paper due the next day, and I would do it all night and get an A on it. So that was always a gift set for me. But sometimes we don't connect the dots until it's time for the puzzle pieces to properly align, and then we see who we are. Mm-hmm. And so 2014 was the year I was approached to be a part of a co-authored book project. The book project.
Stop right there. Before you get into that, now you said when you were young, you grew up with your grandparents raised you pretty much.
My grandparents and my mom. Yep.
And you said that you have an old soul or
very old soul. I'm old.
So give us an example. For those that don't know, never heard that term before. Right. Old soul. Okay. What is it? Give us an example.
Yeah, when I look at people who have an old soul, there's a wisdom about us that comes from being around older people growing up. There's a knowing. Some of my favorite artists are B.B. King, Johnny Taylor, Coco Taylor. I grew up in the house. Yeah, I grew up in the house where we played the blues, and so road trips, it was the blues, and so but I grew up with a lot of wisdom around me. If it wasn't for my grandparents, it was my babysitter across the street in her house being cultivated the way that it was, where there was always wisdom around me, and I was a very curious kid. You know, I didn't read typical books. I would take one of the letters of our encyclopedia set and start reading stuff from the encyclopedia. So
I remember those encyclopedia and the salesman come by the house and sell you 12 volumes of encyclopedia.
Yes, we had.
They don't know about that.
They don't know about that. They don't know about that. You know what? I was really shocked that encyclopedias really exist. I had my hands on one couple weeks ago when I was in the library. I was just shocked to see what was actually in it. I didn't know they still, printed them. But that was my thing. And my family was very big on education. I had all of these educational tools as a kid to help me learn how to read and write. They were very hands-on with me, but they also taught me wisdom. And I didn't understand it until I went off to college. That's when I started connecting the dots and the type of household that I grew up in. And I appreciated it because some people are street smart and, that's all they know is street smart. I have a combination of both, just because of the things that my grandparents instilled in me as a child. And so, but yeah, that
contributed to you being an author today, your background and being around wise older people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I was always introduced to reading. So my mom would make me read every day for 30 minutes a day before I could go outside and play. She didn't play with me at all whatsoever. Or before I did homework, she made me read. And I hated it. I didn't understand why she was doing it, but I loved to appreciate it later on in life because she was literally pouring major seeds into my life. And I don't even think she knew what she was doing. She was just doing what she didn't have. You know what I'm saying? And what she was being told, hey, your child needs to, read. But I was reading at the age of 3, but she wanted me to continue, that education.
Okay, so that shaped and molded you until who you are today. So, okay, so we're back where you said you joined you co-authored, you joined, who did you join?
So the book was a total flop. It didn't go anywhere where we were told it was going to go. And I remembered the editor of the project. She was giving me my feedback, and she was like, "Toccara, your chapter is amazing." And I'm like, "What?" She was like, "No, it's like probably one of the best chapters in the book." And I was like, "Wow, really?" She's like, "Yeah." And I laughed, and she's like, why are you laughing? I said, "I wrote this thing in like 72 hours." And she was like, "Well, it's good." And so hearing that, I'll never forget that, because what I thought was a complete flop was the setup of my authorship journey as an adult. As a kid, I would write short stories, and some of them were published in the local schools. And so that was that as a kid. But then, you know how we do, we put it down, and things have their way of being reintroduced to us later on in life. And we're like, hold on, where did this come from? But really, it was like swept underneath the rug. And once we start doing that dig and figuring out who we are, we realize that some of these seeds were planted a whole long time ago. And so my passion and my gift to write was reactivated. And then year after year, I've written, most of my books are co-author book projects. For those of you who don't know what that is, or an anthology, it's a book where there's several authors sharing their story or perspective in one book. And so I started to fall in love with the idea of being a contributing author in somebody else's story and journey. They might not read chapter 3, but they'll read 4, 5, and 6, but we all have the same perspective that we're sharing, but delivering it in a different capacity.
Was that your first book?
That was my first book. It was a co-authored book project. Okay. It was called The Reinvention Project, When Failure Speaks. And my chapter was talking about relationships. At that time, I was still recovering from my domestic violence relationship. And so it was really passionate to talk about the different levels within relationships. It was a great read. I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. It was a great read because it came from a really good healed place. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. As authors, we need to make sure that we're sharing our perspective from a healed place, because words are seeds and we never know who is picking up our book to read it.
Right. Let me interject here. My first book was a anthology as well. I have chapter 6 in the book that I contributed to, Journey to Greatness. And so if for those that are wanting to be authors, but you just can't find the time to sit down and write your book, a co-author or being a contributing author is a fast, easy way to become an author. And then if that book becomes a best-selling author, then that makes you a best-selling author as well. So anthologies is an easy way to go. And in fact, I was working on my personal project book, but then this project came through, this anthology project came. I put my project down. I said, let me just write this chapter real quick. I can do it.
Yeah.
And and we sent it to best-selling author status, and we haven't looked back. So that was my first. And so now I'm working on my personal, as you know, working on my personal. We'll get to that later when we talk about services that you offer. Working on my personal book. So I'm back to that project again. So I just want to kind of give that tip to those that are listening out there, viewing the show, that's a great way to get started. And then you can backtrack and work on your own personal project and get your own book out there, which I think you should do as but can we just touch on a little bit? I know you said it's a day and time for another show about the domestic violence, because I think that's a great, I mean, you can share what you want to share, but just give us a little bit about that experience and how you stayed. What made you stay afloat? Because domestic violence abuse is very, very, it can be very, very mental on a person. And a lot of people, they don't recover from that. You are a survivor of it. And I think it's important that we share that experience just a little bit about what kept you, because there's something that for survivors, there's something that keeps them going and keeps them getting up every day.
Yeah.
And how does that tie into your authorship? Because I think it's very important for people to know when we're trying to move to the next level with different projects that we're doing or different businesses that we're starting, and we have a situation behind the scenes at home. People don't know about that part. We still get out here and we still keep going, and we're a survivor. That's a huge deal. It's a big deal. So can you just share with us a little bit about that experience and how it shaped you and what made you stay on that path to your journey to greatness?
Yeah. So my abuser, I forgave him when I started talking about it in 2017. I was a part of a co-author book project, and a part of my chapter, I titled that part of the story "The Sea of Black and Blue," and I inboxed him on Facebook and I said, "Hey, just so you know, I'm getting ready to share a little bit about, what I went through with you." And, he was very apologetic still about what happened. And for me, I had to make the decision to forgive him. And I had to make the decision to heal. And that healing process is real. And so one of the things that I definitely know was a part of my healing journey was writing about him, and just sharing some of the ins and outs of what that abusive relationship looked like. And, when I talked about it for the first time in the book, and my grandma may be watching, I really wasn't expecting for my family to read it. And they did. And they had a lot of questions because I never mentioned that part of that to them of my life, because I knew that they weren't ready for that. So sometimes we shield people from what we're going through because it's already enough for us to handle it, right? And then to have to explain or share why we were in what we were in. Because for me, I never in a million years would have thought that I would have been in a relationship like that. And now looking back at it, I knew I was looking for love in the wrong places. And I knew the absence of my biological father had something to do with that. So my abandonment and my rejection issues from him not wanting to be in my life led me down a path where I was just looking for love in the wrong places. And he displayed what I thought was a quality and some quantities of love, but that wasn't it. So I talk about it freely. I have co-author book projects where I have other women sharing their stories. It's basically writing was my therapy, continues to be my therapy. And now speaking about it, not being shy or scared or fearful to share with the world what it looks like to be on the other side of it, because there was a lot of dark days. Depression and I were married to one another. There was a lot of times where I was like, why me? But like, why not you? You have to be real with yourself. The thing that made me finally walk away was I realized my worth. And then the threats that he was saying that he was going to do, he really wasn't going to do. That was just his way of controlling and manipulating the situation. And so to this day, I'm not in conversation with him much, but he'll inbox me. He wished me a happy birthday last week. He's still in a place of healing himself. But that happened over 20 years ago. And so you have to make the decision to move on and figure out how to share it when you're ready. Right. Because we don't look like what we've gone through, right? It's important to be able to share it because you never know who's around you that may be going through something similar because they don't look like it either.
Thank you so much for sharing, because I just wanted people to kind of understand, because you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And some people may have not heard our entire story.
Right.
And that's why interviews are very important, because sometimes you weren't expecting to talk about that, but sometimes in interviews things come out, and it
Yeah.
it helps the audience learn more about you, because I think when people learn more about us, they can appreciate us when we're moving on to the next level, because that journey is not, always glitz and glamour. It's not
No.
always going to be, there's going to be obstacles, and sometimes there's setbacks. And
Right.
so I don't want people to get the wrong impression about some people just show all the good side. They don't tell you anything about the bad stuff. They just tell you all to show you all the good stuff, tell you all the good stuff. But that's not reality. And
No.
people want realness. They want you to be transparent and share what you're comfortable sharing.
Yes.
Now, you may not have been able to talk about it during that time or right after that time. You, like you said, you have to be ready to talk about it. But you will get to a place where you can talk about. There's things I can't talk about right now, but I know I will be sharing it later, because we're still in that healing.
Yes.
We're probably in therapy. So we will heal, and then we can tell our story, that part of it. So I appreciate you being transparent and obedient.
Right. That's it right there. That's it.
She didn't shy away from the question. So I thank you for that. We have a comment from Sonia Zachary Bell. She says, "Hi, Queen. Toccara is a phenomenal woman. I'm so blessed to have her in my circle. Thanks for sharing your authentic heart space." That's what I'm saying. Authentic heart space.
Yes. No, thank you. But I feel that I have to now. And it's a part of my assignment. And I have a saying that I mentioned in my book, Identity Blueprint: Keys to Unlocking Your True Self. Knowing who you are is a game changer. Because I know, who I am. I know what I've been through. I'm okay with talking about these things, because like I said, you never know who is watching.
That's right.
This may talk that someone may be in a situation and they're like, there's no way I can get out. There's no, yes, you can. I mean, when I talk about the threats, and there was one instance where he tried to suffocate me to death, like there is real. And so listen, you can get out of it. And there's so many resources now that can help you to get out of it. One of my girls, her name is Y. Renee Cooper out of Chicago, and she has a non-for-profit, her voice, For Your Voice Matters. And that's what she does. She literally is like the Harriet Tubman of domestic, and she helps these women escape from these domestic violence relationships. So
it's important to share your story. And there may be someone watching that's in that situation right now.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to you all who that is. Get help. Speak up. Your voice matters. Tell someone.
Yes.
Because those that don't survive, most of them is because they never said anything. They were embarrassed, or they didn't want their family to know.
Right.
Whatever the reason was, they may have been so oppressed by their abuser, they may not have that self-worth where they think they can survive, or even need help from the situation. So we need to talk about those things. So thank you so much for sharing. Sonia says, "Yes, Queen, our worth. We are worthy and deserving." Amen.
Yes.
It's so true. Thank you so much. So now we left off at let's see, one more comment. Yvette says, "Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome."
Absolutely. So now where did we leave off at? Because I kind of got into that zone.
No, you're good. So I was talking about one of my book projects where I started talking about, different stories of what happened to me. And so what I was sharing this book was talking about leadership. And, when God was like, share your story about domestic violence, I'm like, what in the heck does that have to do with leadership, God? What do you mean? You know how we ask God these questions, and he like, well, I told you, I said what I said, but we still want to question. And so one of the things that I realized, I was able to connect the dots when we go through different situations, no matter what it is. Mine was just domestic violence. That can strip away elements within us that make us no longer feel worthy of what he told us that we are. And so that's why I wanted to share that within a leadership book, because when you're a leader, you're a leader. And sometimes we run from being a leader because of the responsibility, and we never take the hat off. The hat's like permanently glued on our head. We can never just rest. Leadership runs within our body and our blood and our soul. And so, one of the things I've learned to share is just who I am in all facets, because people need it. And I didn't think that, because I was like, oh, people need that. No one wants to hear my story. And that's what a lot of you are thinking out here who are sitting on books, because you guys have stories that no one wants to hear what you have to say, and you're totally wrong. And so you just need the right person who can birth it out of you, so you can get to the place where you need to get to, because writing a book is a birthing process. You are going to go through a transformation and a process while you are writing a book. It is not just pen to paper or fingers to a keyboard. There's a metamorphosis that's going on within you as you are writing the book, as it should be. So that's a whole nother listen. Those that work with me get it. I had a client of mine today. She was like, baby. I was like, I tried to tell you. And so she gets it now. So yeah.
We have a new viewer that just got into the room. Ariwa Cosmetic. She says, hi, she's a boss out there. How you doing, Ariwa Cosmetic?
Yes,
welcome to the broadcast. And Sonia is throwing up you some hearts.
Hey.
So yes. How many books do you have now?
12.
12? I know in your bio, you actually wrote 12 books.
12. If it's not a co-author project that I was a part of somebody else's, like this is one of my babies, this is my children's book.
What's the name of that one?
Daddy, Where Art Thou? So remember I mentioned that my dad wasn't a part of my life. So I'm the 4th out of 22 kids. My dad has been incarcerated and continues to be incarcerated. And so I didn't know what my dad looked like. I knew he was tall, but I never saw his face. So when God gave me this book, this is what he gave me.
Oh my God.
So this book talks about helping kids to understand that dad may not be around, but there's a community of people who love you in spite of.
Nice.
Yeah.
See how your life, there's books because of your life. I mean, I would have never thought to write a book like that, but as a kid, we're curious, like, where is my dad? Where is my mom? Or, why aren't they coming to see about me? But we never think about when we get older to write that story, because that's our story.
It is.
So we never think about putting that in actual print because it may help someone else, and I think that's what comes out of writing books. It helps other people that may have the same journey, same issue.
Man.
And they're like, okay, it's not just me. Because some people think I'm the only one going through this.
Right.
I'm the only one that
listen. This is a children's
never seen their dad,
Listen, I have a whole I will never forget this. When I was working in social services in Chicago, I had a friend of mine, and I was telling her about this book, and she read it. And she was 50 at the time. She said, this is not just for children. She said, as I was reading this, I was breaking down because this is my story. And I lost it because my mind didn't go there. My mind was so focused on children where I didn't think of somebody who looks like me, sounds like me in that from that instance or that scenario can pick up a book like this and really be like, oh my God, that's me. So we never know.
So let me ask you this. Has your dad read the book or seen the book?
He knows about the book. He definitely knows about the book. Okay. And one of the things that I
was just curious if he,
Oh, he knows. Yes. Like I said, I'm an open book. So my dad's in prison for life. And one of the things that we talked about was, I'm going to share these stories and you're going to know about it. And so the relationship we have is I'm very upfront with him. I don't sugarcoat anything. And he follows me on social media. So he knows everything that I do. So yeah, he knows about it. I told him the concept. He got emotional the first time that I told him about it, just because he now had a better understanding of how I felt in reference to his actions or lack thereof, and how they affected me. And so,
do you think that it would affect him in some kind of way, or maybe a healing on his end, because you said he's incarcerated for life, so he'll never come out and see and be and build relationship with his children and you in particular. So do you think that would heal him? And maybe he's feeling guilty. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of guilt. He talks about it. And he wishes that he would have done things better and different. And I don't cut him no slack when I have conversations with him. I say, I just say, hey, your decisions were your decisions, and I just want you to know that we're good out here. We're good, and I'm going to continue to utilize my story and my journey to help other people.
How does that make you feel, if you don't mind me asking? He's incarcerated for life. How does that make you feel as a daughter? You'll never, because of the sentence, you'll never potentially be with him or build a relationship or hang out with him or anything?
Sure. So where he's incarcerated, we can go like visit, but it's not like contact, type of visit. I remember a couple years ago, because he's in Alabama, so my sisters and my brother and I, we surprised him for Christmas one year, and he had no clue we were coming. And so, things like that, it's a tough situation where you can only talk to somebody through a phone, and that's your dad. You can look at him, but you really can't, hug him or, feel that energy, but
so how does that make you feel as as a adult figure?
God is amazing, and I feel like there's a reason why that happened. And he blessed me with an amazing bonus dad. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything anymore, because God sent me my bonus dad. And I also had my babysitter's husband also was like another dad to me. So I had those male figures around me that loved me and showed me different things, but I still missed, what I wanted from my biological dad. So I don't feel any regret anymore. I don't feel any hate, because I used to hate him. I would call him the sperm donor in a heartbeat and not care about his feelings or emotions, because I was coming from a place of hurt. So that's changed, and I thank God that it has. Forgiveness is real, and forgiveness is truly for us. And what I also realized is that he was not equipped to be a dad. And so you don't want somebody in your life that would, I'd rather him not be in my life than be in my life than fail me. And so I'm good now, but that took a lot of work. That took therapy, in which I am an advocate for therapy. I remember the first session when I was like, where's the paddles? Where's the, like we see on TV, we see the paddles, we see the foam doll. I'm like, I want to get this aggression out. I want to get all this out. And that's not how it works, right? So I had to learn how to heal from his absence, and I write about it. I talk about it. I help other people through it. And so I'm thankful.
God is good, because he knew your situation. He knew that you could survive from that.
Yeah.
As you age, get older, and you incorporate therapy, and he set those angels in your place, their bonus dads in place to help bridge that gap and help you move on in life, because we have to live on,
Yeah, and I had an amazing grandfather. My grandfather was the bomb.org,
There you go. Yeah.
He was my other father figure. So, and I had my uncle, so I had the men around me, but there was still, I felt like something was missing, and that was his presence. And so
we have a couple of comments. Is it Michael?
Oh, hey.
They say my glorious queens.
He's
Thank you so
amazing.
much. We have a comment from Sonia. She says that's why she's the boss, helping others to birth our book babies. I love that. Our book babies.
Yes.
She also says my dad wasn't involved in my life when I was younger, and my uncles were wonderful. It's truly been a journey. God is in the details, and He truly provides.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Amen. I
Yes.
couldn't read it. If I put up screen, I'm gonna be squinting.
That's all right. That's all
I
right.
forgot I do have these.
You do. They're cute too.
You're welcome. That was a great comment. Thank you guys for commenting. Share your comments, your thoughts during this interview. Just let us know, what you're thinking, how you're feeling out there, because a lot of people are sitting back watching this, and they maybe have had this journey where they do not have a relationship with their father, or it's limited.
Yes.
Maybe they don't have never seen their father before. So we're uncovering a lot of things in this interview, and that's the purpose of interviews, so that we can share our journey, so people don't think that they've had an amazing life, and when you have, but some people may interpret that as nothing's ever gone wrong. They
Right.
always are, on top of things. Nothing interrupts their life, but
Right.
there are some interruptions.
Yes,
major ones,
Major.
and some that we have to deal with during our entire life.
Yeah.
Even, so what we're still, pursuing our dreams, our goals, to write our books, write our story. I think that is amazing. I'm so glad I became an author, because now I want to write another book, and I want to write something.
Addicting. It's addicting. It's addicting. It is so addicting. And I tell people all the time that my consulting and publishing company a lot of times feels like ministry, because I'm literally working with people to birth out what they're carrying. And it's funny that Sonia said book babies. I was looking for my sweatshirt. I couldn't find it, but I actually have a sweatshirt that says, some birth children, I birth books, because I don't have kids. And so I have 12 babies. Yeah, no. I have 12 babies. And then, I think about what I haven't talked about yet. My amazing, amazing, amazing partner, her name is Natalie Bonner, and I started a program called Dream Scribers, where we help the youth and incarcerated become published authors.
Wow, let's get into that.
Yeah. So
what's her name again?
Her name is Natalie Bonner. I hope she's watching, or I'm gonna tag her so she can know that I give her flowers. I mean, because she and we met when I had my radio show. She was a guest, and we just kind of stayed connected, and we vibed, and then we decided to do something together. You know how God introduced you to, I hear you, God. So it's like a theatrical play, like you're sitting in the seats and you see the curtain, but you don't know what's behind the curtain until it's time for it to be revealed. And so the two of us, and she just emailed me. That's so crazy, right? I'm interviewing and I'm talking about, she just emailed me. She's in sync. So one of the things that we decided to do was to collaborate. She writes children's books too. And so me having the publishing company, and we decided to come together, and two of the populations of people that people look over are children and the incarcerated. They don't think that they have a voice. And so what we've learned, we started coming together with the idea in 2019. It wasn't birthed until 2021. We've helped over 20 people become published authors, and that includes our incarcerated population as well.
Wow.
And we're expanding. We're on the move, and we have community partners that are looking to provide funding to help us to really maximize what we've created. And so our kids range from anywhere between the ages of 5 and 18, and we literally help them to develop their stories in 12 weeks.
That is amazing. How do you find the kids?
So we put a call out there, and there's an application process, and there's a fee that they pay. They fundraise to pay that fee, and it's definitely significantly discounted, because if you know anything about the logistics of birthing a book, it definitely takes a nice amount of money to do, especially for the time that goes into it. And we've really seen how it's such an outlet for them, whether especially our babies, our kids, because some of them that have been a part of our cohorts in the past, they may have been autistic, or one of them had an autoimmune disease that she found out she had. And so writing became their outlet. One of our babies, she lost her mom, and then 4 months later, she lost her dad. So her book is about poetry in the form of talking about grief. And these kids are phenomenal. So we see how they enter in one way, and 12 weeks later, once, we're done working with them, we have shifted in so many opportunities. Like here recently, some of them were selected for the Martin Luther King Project back in Aurora, Illinois, and Star Jones was the guest speaker.
Nice.
So they, they're being exposed to owning their voice at an early age, what entrepreneurship looks like at an early age. The parents are present, of course, but we're working with them to understand how to create a launch team for their book. Like, who's going to support them? What does that look like? Sometimes they're like, we don't want anybody to know we're writing it. So we work with them through that. We have one-on-one coaching sessions. So it's an amazing, amazing journey that we work with these babies and the adults that are incarcerated as well, to really help them to understand their voice matters.
That's amazing. Working with children, they're experiencing a mind shift when they're in that journey, getting their from beginning to end, and getting their book together. That is, I think every child should probably go through that, because it's forming them as an older, teenager, if they're really young, and just kind of getting them in the mindset of thinking about things that matter. Telling your story. I mean, that's amazing in itself. We have 2 comments, people that have just joined in, that I want to recognize. Viola Hall.
Says, what people are coming through?
Hello, Jim. Your people is coming through. That's for sure. And then we have Chelsea, a champion. Hi, Chelsea. She says, thank you for sharing your story and being an inspiration to us.
Oh, you're so welcome.
So sweet. And we have Viola Hall again. She says, that's amazing. Now, how do you find the incarcerated? How do you connect with them to help them write a book? I'm curious.
Yes. So what people don't really know is that especially county jails are looking for people to come in and help these people who are incarcerated never come back, right? They really are. So we work with a jail called Kane County Jail in Illinois, and basically they have tons of programming, from forklift certifications to they do pitch contests to pitch a business, and they win certain things. So we have Lighthouse, which that's the mental health. We have churches that come in and pray with them. So we have a lot of different resources, wraparound services that come in, and they're there with these inmates. Because a lot of the inmates at some jails, well, the county jails that we work with, they're just there for a certain amount of time. Typically, they're going to be able to go back out. There's a handful of them that are going to get shipped off to like a penitentiary or a prison. But we even work with them to make sure that if your book's going to be published, who can run your business while you're in jail. So, we have banks that we work with in the area to set up accounts for the inmates. And so it's a whole program.
Wow. So you basically go in and you just kind of share what you do, and then find out who's interested. Interested in writing a book?
Yes. So we find out who's interested in writing a book, right? And then we go in and we work with them, so we spend time in the jails. They have isolated rooms. We're helping them to birth out their stories. And, then they give us their stories, because, they're limited with the resources that they have by being incarcerated, but they definitely always have pencil and paper, right? So there's a lot of times where we just transcribe their stories and we do everything else for them. So they understand that their voice and their story, no matter if they're behind bars, still matters.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, I never knew that you had that you did
Yeah.
something like that. See, that's why I love, again, that's why I love interviews.
Yeah.
We have
We're
a
working
comment
on
from,
our next cohort. So yes.
okay. We have a comment from Angel Price. Hi, Angel. She says,
Hey.
hey, hey, hey. Okay, so let's let the people know what offerings you have for anyone that might want to write a book or get in one of your classes. I think
Yeah.
it's probably the time to kind of share that
Okay.
as we kind of get towards the end of our interview here. Take it
Sure.
away.
So, one of my books that I wrote is Identity Blueprint: Keys to Unlocking Your True Self. I wrote it in 28 days, and so I teach people how you can actually write a book in 28 days. A lot of people don't think that you can, but it is indeed possible. I remind people very kindly that we have 168 hours in a week, so it allows you to really question what are you doing with your time and your energy, and so. I'm the queen of book camps. So I believe in teaching more than doing. But I do have services where we do the work for you. And when I say we, I have a team of 5 editors right now. And so, and one of them, she coaches aside with me for those who want to write a children's book. And so we do deep dives when it comes to writing children's books. So whether you want to write a children's book, whether you want to write a workbook, whether you want to do a cookbook, we can help you out. Right now, I am conducting a create your own coloring book class. It's so much fun. And people are like, a coloring book? And I'm like, yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
If you do an Amazon search for adult coloring books, you're going to be mind blown on how many different types of adult coloring books there are now. And so I teach basically anything that you want to learn how to monetize your genius in the form of a book. We have it within a book camp. And so my offer, hold on. For those of you who don't want to write, I do ghost write. Me and my team, God has been so good. I have a team of 3 ghost writers, including myself, where we can ghostwrite for you. And if you don't know what ghostwriting is basically we tap into your mind, body, and soul with your permission, and we write your book for you. And so that is definitely a way, but there is an interview process because I just don't ghostwrite for everybody, because a lot of times people want to just take the easy way out, because like I mentioned earlier, writing a book is definitely a process.
That's right.
So yeah, but my offer at the end of the month, starting on January 30th, this is my first one of the year. I do a 3-day challenge, and so you get to work with me for absolutely free, 60 minutes for 3 days, and I basically challenge you to get yourself started on your authorship journey. It's completely free. And I do that as a service because a lot of times there's a lot of questions in reference to, I have a book, but I don't know where to start. And I get that. So the other thing that I'm teaching, it's going to be posted later on, probably Monday or Tuesday. It's called From Concept to Chapter 1. So it's a 60-minute masterclass where I'm teaching you what you need to do in order to get this concept out of your head and on those 5,049 notebooks that you have around your house to be able to start from concept to chapter 1. And there's a lot of people out here who have a book in them and they just don't know where to start. And so I'm really excited. If you go to yourauthor'sauthority.com, you'll be able to click on the services tab and you'll see the different classes that we offer. And then for those of you who are already authors, what we didn't get to talk about is I have a TV show called The Author's Authority Lounge. It's the official TV show for authors. I have my own platform called the Boss TV Network, and all shows will run on Roku, Apple, Fire, and Amazon TV.
Nice.
And so we as authors, we definitely need a platform where people can learn more about us, and it's interview style. And why did you write this book? What's your backstory to have had you to birth this concept that you have now put into a book? And a lot of people don't understand is writing a book is a really great way to enter into the marketplace. When you have a book, you can now speak on it. You can do a podcast on it. You can do a TED talk on it. You can do a documentary about it. There's so many ways to dissect your book, but you have to get to a place where you're willing to really live, unlock, and rediscover your purpose, because we all have a vault. We know the combination, but sometimes when life happens, the combination kind of gets lost as well. And so
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Becoming an author can open up doors for
Yes.
you to other ways to make money and monetize off of. Now you're the authority of what you're talking about in your book. So that happened for me as well, because in my first book, which is an anthology, I have chapter 6, Your Journey to Greatness is the name of the book. My chapter 6 was titled My Journey from My 9 to 5 to Entrepreneurship.
Oh, really?
I was promoting our new book on Facebook, and someone saw it, and they're part of the Deltas, this community. And they have, I didn't know this, but they have an annual event called Side Hustle Saturday. And I was talking about side hustles. And they said, we want you to be a speaker. I saw you talking about your book on Facebook Live. And that's exactly like how I started speaking at different things. And then after that, it just kept going on, and I got requests to speak. And so people, you can monetize your book by way of speaking. And when I was a speaker, let me just say this, I made T-shirts really fast because coming up, and I sold from the stage, what we call selling from the stage. I sold the T-shirts. I wore it as I was speaking, and then I had a table in the back. When you're a speaker, request a table.
Come on,
so you can sell your books and merch. So I sold T-shirts. I had merchandise, and you can have whatever else you want on there, cups, mugs, whatever. But that, again, we're building these different streams of income. And so that's why they call me the Queen of Side Hustle.
Listen, I'm right there with you, and that's what I teach my clients to do. Like when I'm typically out in the streets, I try to rep me as much as possible. Like I have one of my sweatshirts on now for my apparel line. I have my earrings that I make. Who are you? Show up and show out. Don't be afraid to be who you are. And when you write a book, it opens so many doors. I've been on so many international platforms, from the UK to Europe to Africa, talking about.
So you're an international speaker?
I'm an international speaker and author. My first, I just ran across the book not too long ago. It's a leadership book. It was my first co-author, my second co-author book project. No, my third co-author book project, excuse me. And we were our launch was a part of a women's conference in Beijing, China. So I wasn't even there, you know what I'm saying? But I wrote the book. I was a part of the book, and it was sold in Beijing, China. So you never know, who's going to get a copy of your book. And I have a client of mine. She wrote a book, and I was going and teaching her the ins and outs of Amazon. And someone from the Netherlands bought her book, so it immediately made her an international author. So we never know who is looking at us, who is watching our story and our journey, especially in social media. There's people who are watching, they'll never like, they'll never love, they'll never comment, they'll never inbox you, but they're watching, and we're an inspiration for a reason. And that's why I say knowing who you are is a game changer, and live on purpose for purpose. Don't just be living here to do nothing.
Absolutely.
into who you are so you can literally, my whole goal is I want to die empty. Whatever is in me, I want the Lord to say, well and done, faithful servant. I don't want none that I would listen. I want him to say, check, check,
Right.
check, double check here, star and check here.
You all got to say, let her in. She's good.
Yes.
She's doing good work.
Yes.
A good and faithful servant.
Yes.
I'm glad
all
you
of
mentioned
that.
the international, because some people don't know that it can. You just don't know where these books can wind up,
Yes.
and they could be international. You might find yourself being invited to come and speak. You know, a country could fall in love with you and your message in your book and invite you over. You just never know. So be prepared. Be prepared.
Yes. Be prepared. You know, I have a following in Nigeria. Never thought that would happen based off of some of the, people that I've been connecting with and mentoring young girls in Nigeria, talking about identity and tapping into who they are. You never know.
You never know. You got to be ready. Hey, I just want to give some more acknowledgments to those that are just entering into the broadcast. Hi, Deborah. She says, hey, ladies, I love the fuchsia on you, Martine Corte. Thank you. Good to see you. Happy New Year, Deborah. And then we have Sonia. She says, I love it. I love it too. Isn't she amazing? She says, that's awesome. We got an international author right here in our midst, y'all. She's doing all kinds of things. She's teaching children and incarcerated people to write their own stories. I did not know that about you, but I'm sure there's other things that we're going to discover here as you move along in your journey, Toccara. The identity architect. I love that. Where'd you get that from?
Sure. I love this story. In 2018, I went on a journey of really figuring out who in the heck am I? For real. And I remember consulting a coach of mine that I was traveling to New York every 3 months to sit underneath his teaching. And I remember we were on a phone call one day. He was like, who are you? And I was like, I'm the identity coach. And have you ever said something and then you're like, oh, did I just let that come out my mouth? Well, that's how I felt when I said I was the identity coach. And that was in 2018. And what the Lord did was he literally showed me, he's like, you're not a coach, you're an architect. I was like, huh?
Whoa.
So yeah, I was like, huh? So I had to look up the word architect because
that would have been my next step.
I had to be like, huh? And so anybody who knows me, I love words. I am such a nerd. I will look up something in a heartbeat and study it until I fully can walk in it. And so when I was looking up the word architect, he literally showed me different scenarios in my life, how I've always been a builder. Whether he placed me in a scenario to build up a business just to move me on, or to build people and to move me on. Like he's always been there to show me I'm a builder. And he took me back to my childhood. Y'all ain't ready for this. But he took me back to my childhood. And I used to be able to put things together without reading instructions. I would just figure it out. And so he's like, you're a builder. And literally I said, okay, it makes sense. And so when we talk about, because I'm a certified life coach. So that's why the identity architect, being able to build books, brands, businesses, and yourself is the tagline, because I want to teach my people how to monetize their genius by knowing who they are and owning that. And so being an architect, you have the capabilities to help build someone, but through life coaching. And so everybody and their mom was calling themselves a life coach. And so he's like, you're the identity architect. So he gave me that. And I've been running with it ever since.
That is a great story. I love it. You are definitely identity architect. I didn't know you had that in your background as a life coach.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because I definitely can see that coming out in the way you work with your with me and with your clients. I'm one of her clients too, y'all. The service that I got from her is and that we're working on it. She's ghostwriting for me. So you need a ghostwriter, because I'm very, very busy, for those that know me. And so I've been trying to sit down and write my book, and it's been a year past and I still haven't had it, got it done. And so I said, I'm just driving myself crazy because I want to do this, but I need help. So when and this is why I tell people, because I have a live streaming group where I teach entrepreneurs how to live stream, a Facebook live streaming group. When I saw Toccara on live stream talking about her ghostwriting services, you guys, you've got to get out here and tell people what you do. I had no idea that she offered that. And she didn't know I was looking for someone to offer that particular service. So thank you, Queen, for getting out there and spreading your message about the services that you offer, because there's somebody could be looking and waiting for that opportunity. If you just mention it, you've got another client and you're serving them and you're helping them. Now my problem is solved. Problem is solved. I don't have to keep searching. It doesn't have to be in the back of my mind. Martine, you got to write this book. That bothered me. It really bothered me. I had a million things to do, but that stayed in my mind. You got to get your book. It was just like a constant. And so thank you. And so those of you that are entrepreneurs, business owners, live stream, let people know what you do. If you are a product-based business, let them know what products you have to sell so they can buy it. If you're a service-based business, let people know what services you offer so they can connect with you and start a conversation. And soon enough, you'll be hiring them to do whatever you want them to do.
Exactly.
It works.
It does. I used to be shy. I used to be shy about what I did. Because I didn't, I didn't want everybody in my business. This is what I'm telling myself. I didn't want everybody in my business. I didn't want everybody to know what I did. Then it was like, if I don't tell anybody what I do, what? That doesn't make sense.
You're not the only one. I run across people and they say, well, I don't really want, like, how are you a business owner if you don't want to tell people about what you do?
Listen, when I tell you, when God really started to deal with me, and that's why I say I work with Christians, because you're going to hear God about 5,099 times within every session that I do, because I know he's the source of who I am and who you are and who you are and what we like. Without him, I wouldn't be able to be here. You wouldn't be able to hear. Y'all wouldn't be watching this. You guys wouldn't be able to write books. You wouldn't be able. So listen. So I talk about it all the time. And what I know to be true is that we all have a book inside of us. It's just, are you going to be bold and courageous to do that? And I was sitting at my desk last week and I heard God say, this is the year to be bold and courageous. And I said, okay, God, because he also told me that this is the year of order and alignment. I said, okay, God. And last year for me, my words were take action. And he said, this is the year for you to take action quicker. He added the word quicker to that. I was like, ooh. And I was like, okay, God, I need you to share with me the whole quicker part. He's like, a lot of times we sit and we don't take action and we miss the moment that quick in the midst of a decision. Am I going to do it or not? And we ain't got time to be sitting. We don't have time to be contemplating. If God told us to move, we need to move. And so he told me Proverbs 3:5-7, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Because when you lean to your own understanding, you don't move quick enough. I was like, ooh, God,
you gotta get out his way and let him do his thing. I love it. I'm
running. I feel like the road runner. Beep, beep, move out my way and go. Beep, beep.
So 2023, we're doing things quicker.
Yes, quicker.
Lean not into your own understanding, y'all.
Don't. You're gonna fall. You're gonna lean so hard, you're gonna fall.
Get out the way and have a discerning ear to hear him when he's speaking to you, because we got our own agenda, but sometimes that's not the right agenda. That's not the path he wants us to take. Exactly. And I'm a great believer of alignment. And so I want to be in order. I want to be in alignment. I don't want to struggle all the time to make things happen. And a lot of times that happens because we're out of line.
Yes.
And so stay in alignment, do what you're supposed to do, keep your head down, work. Serve. I've gotten this part because I served first. Served first. I'm still serving. I don't think there'll be a day where I will stop serving, because I think that's my assignment here. I understand the assignment, right? So when we're out here, you entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners follow me because I always talk business. Make sure that you are in order, you're in alignment, you're serving. We can't just be out here selling. We got to serve at some point. Give back to the community. You'll see things rapidly start to happen for you that you've been waiting on when you align yourself with being a servant. Okay, it works. And we should have a heart of serving because we're part of the community when we're a business owner.
Yes.
So how could we not have a piece of us that serves at some point?
Amen.
At some point in our lives.
Got to.
But I'm gonna digress from that.
That's another show.
That's a whole nother live stream. We've been on here for about an hour and a half. So I just want to wrap this up because I know people want to watch their shows and stuff, Saturday night, but let me just acknowledge our replay viewers. If you're watching this show, the Entrepreneur Show, on the replay, the live button is no longer in the upper left-hand corner, whichever corner. Thank you and welcome my replay viewers. If you guys have questions, drop them in the comments. She or I, whoever the question is addressed to, we can get back to you because Facebook does a great job of letting us know that someone has left a comment, and we'll be sure to follow up with you and answer your questions. So also, I want to let people know, and then Toccara, I'll let you have the last word. And just kind of wrap up something that you want to leave the audience, right? So I want to let people know that if you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, and you want to be the next guest on the Entrepreneur Show, let me know. Just send me a message in Messenger. I like Messenger over texting. So just send me a message there and let me know your interest. Let me know what you do, and then I'll respond to you as quick as I can. But I would love, and I'm looking for the next guest boss to be on the show, on the Entrepreneur Show, because I love interviewing. I love kind of breaking down your business and your journey. And because a lot of people want to know, how did you get to where you are? What were some of the personal things that we didn't know about as followers and fans of you that happened to you, but eventually shaped you into who you are today? And you're still on that path to success and greatness. So if that's you, just send me a comment and let me know in Messenger. Let me know that you're interested. I appreciate you. Also, for those that I mentioned earlier, I solely believe that live stream is the way to go when you're new, especially when you're new out there. But this is for a new business owner, veteran business owner. It doesn't matter how many years that you've been in. People nowadays, they want to see the face of the business. They want you to be transparent.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in learning how to live stream, join my free Facebook Live group. It's called Live Streaming for Small Business Owners in Facebook. And I will let you in and you can watch the videos. There's a 3-part video on how to successfully live stream for your business. We've got over 150 business owners learning how to live stream. And then I also throw other additional information like funding resources, because we know as a small business owner, funding is a big part of building our business. And we struggle with that as new business owners, existing business owners, finding money. We need the money. Show me the money to help me build my business, so that we're not always bootstrapping, forever and ever and a day. Amen.
That part.
So let me know. Just join. Just send me a message, and I'll send you a link to the group so you can get inside. All right. So again, my name is Martine Corte. I am a business coach out here in these streets, the entrepreneur streets.
Yes.
And I love helping. I'm a business coach as well. And I love helping small business owners move to the next level. And I am the host of this show, The Entrepreneur Show. So now we're going to have Toccara take it away. Give us some last words that you want to leave the audience with. Sure. And we're going to be out of here, y'all.
We're going to be out of here, y'all. So for those of you who are on the fence about either writing a book or starting the business, I'm going to tell you, just leap into it. There's never going to be a perfect time to do it. A lot of times we think that everything has to be perfect in order for us to leap out here to do it. There's tons of people who are going to help you to do that. And being open to feedback and open to having a coach to help you to get to the places and spaces that you need to go is so major. And know that there is an urgency and a need for you to be out here. Don't think that people don't need you. Don't think that people don't need to hear your book. or read your book, or for you to create the podcast, whether it's the blog, whatever that thing is that it's been tugging at you, and it's been tugging at you because you try to ignore it and it keeps on coming back and it keeps on coming back. You see a billboard about it, someone's license plate reminds you on it, you see a random ad on your Facebook page, whatever that gentle reminder is, it's letting you know, hey, it's your time and it's your turn. So don't stop. It's time to move forward. I'm going to tell you, be bold and be courageous. Take action quicker, and don't lean to your own understanding because it's already done. That's all
Amen. What handles are you on? What's your handles? Social media?
Yes. So I'm on IG. It is the number 2, Cara. So 2 CARA _ Nicole. That's my personal page. That's where I give you the inspiration. That's where I give you me. And then I might talk about authorship sometimes on there. I'm learning how to do reels, so bear with us, sister. Because I am learning the power of reels. And then my website, yourauthor'sauthority.com. And the reason why it's called Your Author's Authority is the word author is in the word authority. Okay. So it's time for you guys to own your author's authority, to stand in what you have been called and created to do from an authorship standpoint. So yourauthor'sauthority.com. Your means ownership. Taking ownership of your authorship path. So that's really important. And then,
is that correct? Your Instagram handle that I just typed in there?
It's 2 Cara _ Nicole.
Oh, okay. Let me fix it.
I know my mom named me after her favorite Avon perfume in the 80s, so my name is just different.
2 Cara _
2 Cara CARA _ Nicole. You got it.
Okay.
And then I'm also on IG, Your Author's Authority. Those are the places where I hang out. And then on my Facebook page, it's I am Toccara Nicole. You can find me there as well and follow me and all that I do. So if you're interested in working with me, whether it's getting interviewed for our TV show, whether it's creating your own TV show, whether it's writing a book, whether you have a business concept that you're sitting on trying to figure out, okay, what's the first steps? I have a master's in management, so I can definitely help you birth out the concept. And then I have an amazing team of people who can take you to actually creating your LLC, your EIN, hint, hint, Martine. And also I have one of my other girls, Tarsha. If you live anywhere in the South, she got you too. And so the power of collaboration, we can get you where you need to go, because time out for sitting on a concept that literally can help somebody else, including yourself. Let's go.
Amen. Let's go. 2023. Yeah. Let's go, y'all. Let's write these stories. Let's get these books done. I love it. Thank you so much, Toccara, for being our guest today on the Entrepreneur Show. I hope this has been helpful. I hope we've inspired some of those stories and so that they can be birthed. You're going to talk to Toccara for that. If you need assistance, find her on social media, because she's everywhere and she's waiting for you to birth your book. Those book babies.
Book babies. Listen.
Those book babies.
Yes.
All right. Everyone, have a great evening. We'll see you on the next Entrepreneur Show. Yes. Thank you, Toccara. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.